Yeah, when I blow up, I'ma soar high like Peter Pan. In real life, be living out my dreams. If I'm waking up, it's in a foreign land. Whole wrist covered up in ice.
Yo, good. Wow. Oh, my mouth is dry. Good morning, guys. It's game day today. I'm gonna weigh myself. It's first thing in the morning. Just gonna make sure that I'm sitting at weight, so when I do go to weigh-ins, there's no surprises. Yeah, so let's check out my weight. So I'm 162 pounds. So whenever I weigh myself, I try and weigh myself about 2 to 3 times at least. So I'm gonna weigh myself again. And yesterday I did the same thing. And it's so weird because my old scale that I had, it was giving me like different readings. And slowly it just started getting worse and worse, like the readings I was giving me. And I realized that it was actually broken. Like it was full out giving me like terrible readings. It was showing me at like 159 pounds, completely What I did was I went to the actual venue where the weigh-in scale is, because you should be allowed to access the weigh-in scale the day before and even like the morning of your weigh-ins. So I went there, weighed myself. It showed that I was like 74.6 something. So when I weighed myself on that and I weighed myself on the other scale, I was thinking maybe it's because of the tile in the hotel, but it wasn't. I actually took my scale next to the calibrated scale. It was giving me like readings that were way off, and it was very inconsistent readings. Usually for local meets, I have 2 scales at home. So I'll bring those and I'll weigh myself on both, because you never know if it's gonna break, and it's always good to have a backup. But since I was traveling and I figured there'd be a Walmart nearby, there's other athletes that I know that are nearby, I don't have to bring 2 scales, and I didn't think it would break, but you know, it did break. But I also planned for the worst case scenario that could happen, and you know, scale is very, very important, especially if you're trying to make weight for a competition. So remember, always bring 2 scales, or at least have a backup plan so that you can go and buy a scale right away if your scale is broken. There we go. So I weighed myself 2 more times and it shows me at 161.8. So it's showing me 0.2 lighter than it did earlier. I'll just go with the 162 to be safe. If I weigh lighter, then I weigh lighter later. So my scale is actually 0.1 lighter than the actual calibrated scale. So you want to factor in those things too, especially if you calibrate your scale the day before, to make sure that, like, you know, you have the exact measurements that you need, and it's the same as the competition scale. After this video, I'm going to be weighing myself naked as well, so removing the underwear. You want to make sure that you're getting the exact amount that you're going to be doing in competition. Always remove your underwear. You never know when it comes down to body weight to win a competition. Before we end this vlog and I get completely in the zone for this competition, I'm going to show you guys what I'm going to have when I do rehydrate. So this is called Gatorlight. It is a lot different than regular Gatorade or any of the other Gatorades. 12 grams of sugar, 490 milligrams of sodium, and 120 milligrams of magnesium, and the potassium 350 milligrams. I also went to the Inner Strength shop in person, which was really cool. I don't know if I showed you guys this yet, but I got the brand new Radix, I think they're called Radix Notorious Lifts, and they weren't even released yet when I got them. So they had permission to sell them, but they couldn't like market that they were selling them yet. So they actually went live today, and I'm gonna be wearing these probably for my bench press today on the carpet, just because there's a lot more grip. Closer to the meet, I'm probably gonna have a little bit of chips just to start getting some carbs in, getting some of the calories in. So I might munch on those. It really depends on how much more weight I lose up until now. I'm gonna have some caffeine, so I'm probably gonna have, you know, at least 200 before squat, maybe 200 before bench, another 200 milligrams before deadlift. I have 3 packets of this rice. I have a whole stack of liquid IV. This liquid IV, you could get it at Costco right now. It has 370 milligrams of potassium, and then the sodium is 570 milligrams, and then there's sugar in here as well, which is 12 grams. Of course, we have a 4-liter bottle of water, to rehydrate. I can't miss out on that. That's very important. I'm not just gonna drink 2 Gatorades. But yeah, I'll see you guys on the platform. What's going on, guys? It's Jared James Fit here. Welcome back to another video. We're with Curtis, and we're going to be reviewing the powerlifting meet that I just did for Western Canadian Championships. The reason why we were doing it was because we're trying to get the world spot, and you guys will see how this whole competition unfolds. So the top 3 lifters that were competing in the run for the world spot was Connor Lutz, Lonray, I think that's how you pronounce your name. Sorry if I got it wrong, but I'm pretty sure we'll just call him Lonray. And me. Those are the 3 guys I think are the ones that had the most capability to try and get that world spot. So it's going to be a really, really exciting battle. So you guys will see here.
Connor Lutz, another legend in the game. Connor's won national titles, competed at the IPF World Championships, and now finds himself at the Western Canadian Championships, battling to get back onto Team Canada, opening with 240. Makes easy work of that.
Look pretty speedy.
That is 3 point.
Jared McIntyre opening with 247.5, and there's a lot of hype and hope resting on this young man. Got here a little early, get a check of the vibe, walked the warm-up room, and had a couple people stop me and talk to me about Jared.
3.5 times his body weight as an opener. Here comes Jared.
Looked like a good opening squat.
Yeah, 247.5, Jared's on the board. Interesting enough, he's a kilo below at 73.03. That was either he's a small 74 or a weight cut gone way too aggressive. Lonray, 270, that's a big squat. Again, projected total openers, 680. If Lonray can keep this pace up, see how 270, wow. So the conversation usually is, when somebody's opening that much ahead of the rest of the pack, you ask yourself, would Lonray possibly be opening too close to his top end, flying too close to the sun, and that move like an opener should?
That was his first attempt on Lonray.
Yep.
Massive squat.
270 kilos. That was 22.5 kilos more than Jared. And what was Connor's opener? 245 kilos?
Less than me. Something less than
I
me.
want to say 245 for Connor. Yeah, like this guy's, if you don't know, he's the national record holder for 74 kilos. Or he used, I think it just got broken recently by Luke Homer in 2024 Centrals, which was held like a few weeks ago before this competition.
That was like also the unofficial world squat record at the time too, I think, when he hit it.
Maybe.
Lonray, yeah.
Yeah. So anyways,
Like
Lonray, huge squatter. Everybody knows that. We knew that coming into this competition. He's going to be a big squatter, big deadlifter. If he puts it together, like, he's definitely a guy to look out for. His opener looked really, really good. No issues.
And now he's in first as well.
Yeah, now he's in first. He's well ahead of Connor and Jared. And yeah, easy opener. So we'll see what he does for his second, I guess.
Connor Lutz.
252.5 for Connor Lutz. 12.5 kilo jump for the Wiley venture. Connor has a big bench press. A lot of people hold serve in the bench press event. Connor can actually cover some ground.
The national record in the bench press may still be his, actually.
Yeah, I'll pull that up and take a look.
I know this is good for Connor.
It is 192.5. Stood since 2018. And in powerlifting, records don't last long. That is ages. Jared McIntyre, 260 kilos.
Bars ready.
Nice catch by the spotters and loaders, and that is definitely shocking. I'm wondering what the background story is there. I told you he weighed in what I thought looked a bit light.
He looked a little bit rushed in his walk out there. Maybe he always walks out like that, but he looked almost like the weight took him backwards a bit and he had to catch himself. So I don't know if maybe it just didn't feel great. Maybe he'll come back and smoke it on his third.
Second attempt from Jared was going to push him from third into second. Lonren's like well ahead of everybody right now. Connor just hit 252.5 for a second. Our third was 260, which was a realistic second, no issues, like planning wise. You just saw that. Walk us through what went wrong.
It's one thing to miss a lift on depth, but another to just miss it basically on strength. Unracking the bar on the first and this second squat, it felt very good. Like, it felt very strong, felt very fast. Almost a little too fast. Like, when I unracked it, the bar, like, it felt like it was bending a lot. It felt like a Good Life noodle bar. Like, it felt like it was whipping. And even after watching this, you can really see the bar whip a lot, which is like very strange for like a stiff bar. And also, I haven't touched weight like that in a while. Maybe to stop the bar from whipping, we could bring the squat rack up. I even think last meet, the one that I didn't have the rack height as low. I think I had it a little bit higher. But usually I personally always prefer a lower rack height. I knew at that time that when I stepped back, even on the first squat that I did, I knew that I was stepping back a bit too early. I didn't let the weight settle.
It almost looked like you stood up and then you immediately walked back.
Yeah.
Versus stood up, wait half a second,
Yeah.
balance yourself, take your 2 slow steps. You're kind of like fast with that process.
Yeah. So
From the
I
unrack
definitely
into your starting position was very fast.
Yeah, I definitely rushed the starting position and the walkout. But like, even for me, like, that didn't bother me mentally at all. Like, I knew that was the thing, but to me it was such a very small, tiny detail that didn't really affect my squat. Long story short, when I was bigger, I placed my belt high on my gut so that I could hit depth, because Curtis was being like a freaking
Strickler.
Yeah, he was very strict on me and he wanted me to squat really, really low. So I started putting my belt higher, and that felt the most comfortable and allowed me to squat very low at a higher body weight. But as I lost weight, I should have brought my belt back to where I usually have it when I'm lighter, but I didn't. So I didn't do that until I went up for my third attempt. So for my second attempt, I didn't make really any changes at all from my first. I just thought maybe it's because I did a water cut and I'm a little bit fatigued. So I didn't really bother changing anything because, you know, why fix anything if it's not broken? Like, at the time, it didn't feel like anything was wrong.
And as a coach, I'm seeing how he's squatting in the warm-up room. Everything's moving great. Does his opener, moves great. Depth is not even an issue. It's not like he's squatting ass to grass, but he's definitely squatting below parallel, and there's no question. But at this level, you almost want to just barely hit it and almost like make it questionable sometimes. Especially with today's goal of going to Worlds, we need to be a little bit aggressive with our attempts.
Kind of like Connor Lutz, especially
and need to be a little bit more aggressive with how close to the guidelines we're making them. So going into the third squat after this fail, I'm like, it was also a thing too, like, I knew he had more in the tank. It wasn't a strength thing. It's the fact that he went too low, lost tightness. Honestly, we can say it was more of a misgroove and miss squat. His walkout was funky. His depth was funky. The belt placement was funky. I know he had more in the tank, so but at the same time, if we went up a little bit, missed it, we were screwed. So best case scenario, let's just retake the lift and then we'll try to gain it back on bench.
And we know from training that I have potential to possibly scrape together a bigger total on bench and dead. And the thing too is, so when I squat as well, this is something that Curtis has recognized because he sees it in person even more now, is my one side goes way lower than my other. Like, my left hip squats way lower than my right hip. So even when I'm like sinking it, yeah, if I can get a white on my right side, great. But now my left side's like extremely, extremely low. And plus my front angle is almost always very low looking. So it's like, is the trade-off really worth it to have, you know, my right side looking obvious depth or just have it kind of borderline good enough. And then my left side still very deep and my front very deep. So that's another thing where we weigh it out too as well.
His one side is probably nowhere to rely, like maybe even 2 inches lower than the other side.
Yeah.
It's very bad.
Yeah, which is like normal for most powerlifters, I would say.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, like if he, this is like a learning experience. So just, actually seeing it in person and seeing how much it can affect like the tightness in the bottom of my squat.
And Long Ray with 286.5. 16.5 kilo jump. It's not totally unreasonable, but this is a Canadian national record in the second round of squatting. And he could make a massive statement here today at the Western Championships. Ooh, it's right on the line. I wonder if he can make some adjustments.
All right, so Lonray just went for his third. He looks like he went for the Canadian national record, 286.5. We know what happened in the back. You see in the video, I don't know if you guys can see it, but he was saying that as he was going up, like the bar slid down his back. It kind of fell off his back a little bit. And, like if you're a high level lifter, you can only lift one way. If you have any kind of misgroove, it kind of throws off the lift completely, especially with, this is like his max weight. If something goes 0.5% wrong, it's almost a missed lift. It's kind of hard to grind out lifts where you need to be so technically proficient. So it looks like he missed, he missed a lift on strength, but we kind of know it was more of a technique issue. Then it almost looked like he just gave up, saved his energy for third. No sense of grinding out lift that you're not even sure you're gonna finish.
Yeah, especially if you feel like something was way off. It's best to just save it for the next attempt.
Yeah,
that was similar even with me on that second squat. It just felt, the positioning felt way off, and I didn't really try to muscle through longer than I had to.
It's Connor Lutz with 260.
That was a really good fight.
3 white lights. Battle to get onto Team Canada. Jared McIntyre, 260, missed this on his second. Can he make some adjustments? Rally and hit it on his third. Well, it's a nice comeback and 3 white lights. Just a crazy squat here.
4 times his body weight. Come on,
yeah, Tim Monagatti had 288.5. This is well over that 288.5 by Tim Monagatti. Of course, there's other people in the world who have squatted more at the national level. And it's just, the question's going to be asked, could he have had 286.5 if he had another go at it?
Okay, so we just watched Lonray. He missed his third. He went up to 296.5 from his failed 286.5. Kind of crazy to go up 9 kilos, but like we said earlier, he missed his second on a technique, he was saying. So if he felt like he had more, that's his decision, him and his coach's decision. And also, he needs to make up ground on squat. That's where he's going to take the lead and hold on to that lead. It just wasn't, it went up.
Well, and let's be honest here. I don't think he would load up that much weight if he didn't think he could do it.
Yeah, this isn't the time to just put weight on a bar and not lift it. It's
he's probably been practicing, and he knew that he needed to lift this.
And that was on his upper end. So
yeah, so he took the risk, and now this, sets him back for the first place spot, which to him doesn't matter, and to all of us, especially at the beginning, did not matter at all.
So right now Lonray is winning with 270 kilos.
Yeah, winning with
his opener.
Missed squats. Yeah, with an opener.
Jared got 260 and Connor has 260, so it's a tight race. Within 10 kilos, 3 of the best lifters, so on to bench.
And Lonray went twice for the national record, back to back, opting 295.5 on his third. Let's see how much it took out of him. It was gutsy, it was bold, but in the end, he moves forward with just his opener. I'm interested in how he's going to play out his bench press and deadlift. Those are long arms. Those are deadlift arms.
He might have a pretty big deadlift. Look at that. Even his projected opening deadlift is pretty big.
Jared McIntyre struggled a little more than he expected, hoping to regain his balance in the bench press. 162.5 for his opening bench. McIntyre has previously hit 165, and we're getting a little close to that. Let's see if this opening bench is ambitious or he's pacing for a big bench day.
Maybe he's had a great training cycle and things are looking really good.
No wrist wraps either. I could not do it.
No, that looked pretty good for 2.5 kilos below his best.
Connor Lutz is your guy. 175 for his opening bench. Connor holds the national record. 192.5. You think about who was at the top of the game in 2018 and who's still around from that era. And here we are, Connor, doing what he does best. Makes easy work of 175.
That was a really nice opener for Connor.
Lanre, 140, so a conservative 5 kilo jump for him. The guns come back out the holsters in the deadlift event. Stay tuned. And that was a smooth 140 as 170 set up for Jared McIntyre. 7.5 kilo jump for Jared and a 5 kilo personal best if he hits this.
Slowed down a little bit, but it still looked good from our angle.
407 pounds.
Connor Lutz, 185 now for his second attempt.
2.5 times his body weight.
407 pounds. It's not often you see 74s benching into the 400s. Connor doing that on his second attempt. Reigning national bench press record holder. Yeah, no doubt on elbow depth.
Another great one. Much more conservative jumps in his bench press than we saw in his squat.
Downright conservative, 142.5. And this is not how he plays. So I'm expecting he's holding back a little bit for that deadlift. Oh, you know what?
That was a well-chosen third.
That was not a conservative third attempt. That was a right-on-pace third attempt. Jared looking to continue that rebound. Can he go 3 for 3 hitting into deads?
Give him a round of applause.
Hit the imaginary wall.
Here he comes. Give him one more round of applause. Come on, Connor.
It would be fantastic to see Connor come back after, you know, quite a bit of time, not really competing really consistently as he used to. See him come back and just take this record that's been sitting there with his name on it for 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah, the name stays the same, but we update that date. It stayed there far too long. And this one will be under the new bench rule. Oh, that's perfect. Oh, wow!
Great.
And Connor with authority.
Wow.
A new national record. Connor Lutz is back, ladies and gentlemen. And that 745 by Blake Barrett is in danger. Jared McIntyre. 260 on the bar for him.
That looked like a nice, smooth opening deadlift.
Jared has hit 277.5, threatening Blake Barrett's position on Team Canada. Who is going to earn that spot? As soon as he hits his opening deadlift, his total is already at 718. There's room. There's room.
Beauty.
There's room,
Nice.
and somewhere in Canada, Blake Barrett is on the edge of his seat. And let's see what Lanre does. 275. Oh, he pulls conventional as well.
Well, as we thought, he was built for the deadlift.
Connor Lutz, 282.5. This is a pivotal pull for him. 17.5 kilo jump, 265 moved very easily.
I'd really like to see Connor put this up, put it on the board.
It'll move his total from 718 to 735.5.
Come on, Connor.
10 more kilos, and Connor Lutz nudges Blake Barrett off of Team Canada. You know what? That looked a lot like his opener.
That's what I thought.
290 kilos stays on the bar for him. Whoa, talk about the engine revving. Did he get the down command?
Let's see.
And that was a lot of work and an excellent fight to not get it.
It didn't move as good as we wanted to. You were experiencing really, really bad cramping at this point too of the meet. Your hands.
It started to, yeah.
Your hands were like, you couldn't even like open your hands.
my hands,
your
yeah.
legs were shaking. Like, so I think at this point, like the dehydration was definitely catching up.
It got so bad to the point where my hand couldn't open, and I couldn't open my hand to grab the bottle to go in, like, rip some liquid IV and put it in the bottle. So I had to, luckily Francine was there. Thank you, Francine, for saving my life, because she was there and she like ripped it open, put it in the bottle for me. I think we put like 4 liquid IVs in the bottle.
Yeah, so
and I chugged it with my closed hands like this.
As he was doing this,
Oh, that was brutal.
I was getting his left overturned. They thought it was downward motion, but it wasn't. It was just him physically shaking. But we actually, if you look at the video and like watch it in slow-mo, like the bar doesn't move down at all. At worst, it stays still for half a moment, but then it keeps going up. It could be deceiving if the bar is moving at a constant pace, but the person behind it's going up and down, but the bar is still moving. So we got the lift and it was overturned. So now we're still in a good position. Plus, with him being more hydrated and not cramping, you know, maybe he has more in the tank for a third.
Yeah, it was still on the table of like maybe.
So now it's a point of we're going to be watching we're going to be watching Connor and Lonray, what they do for thirds, and that's going to influence our third, because I think at this point we needed to deadlift 317.5 kilos to get that world spot. And I think at this point we realized, based off his second, that it wasn't there.
No.
So our mindset changed to going to Worlds to trying to beat Connor. So we'll see how Connor's third looks, and we'll see how Lonray's third looks, and then we'll go from there.
Well,
I think.
and by doing so too, like, let's say if we did beat Connor, let's say that perfect case scenario does happen, and I beat Connor, that could put me in the alternative spot for Worlds possibly, if Luke Homer or someone doesn't pull through. So you never know. It's always good to just try and do the best that you can do on that day, because, you know, there's a certain point in time where you just got to do what you can and, you know, shoot for the stars, but at the same time be somewhat realistic, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so that's the way we looked at it, is like, yeah, we could load on 317.5.
Which we did. We loaded on 317.5. But that was just a placeholder for people like watching in the audience. You'll see on the score table, SimPL meet.
Yeah.
It goes for 317.5. But on paper, if he gets that, he goes to Worlds. But I end up changing that attempt. So it depends, right? It depends. If Connor hits his third, then we'll just go to like 295 kilos, because that's probably all that was there that day. We improve our total even more so. And this time last year, that would have been the national record, 725. We're at 720 right now. So if Connor makes his third, like, there's no way in hell. Like, congrats, Connor, you're going to Worlds. We probably don't have an extra 60 pounds in our deadlifts. That's just unrealistic. But if Connor misses, we changed it to an attempt to beat Connor for that first spot. So we'll see how these thirds look.
Yeah.
Connor Lutz.
292.5 loaded for Connor. If he hits it, he ends off with 745.5 and earns his spot on Team Canada with one more regional event to go.
Bars loaded. If he pulls this, he gets 745.5.
Can he get himself onto Team Canada, if temporarily?
Give him a round of applause. Here comes Connor Lutz.
A return to IPF Worlds might await him. He is 292.5 kilos away. The crowd is on their feet. They all know what this means.
It's a big pull for Connor.
It's all come down to one final pull. Oh, so close. Just that lockout.
What a good fight, though.
Something, I think, is that his bad leg? I don't know.
I'm not too sure. So if you guys don't know, Connor broke his leg. I don't know if it was like 1 year ago or 2 years ago, but to see where he is now with a broken leg recently, it's absurd. He probably made him stronger. I don't know how, but to me on his third, it looked like he got off balanced, and then he kind of just like started misgrooving it, like started going left and right, and then he couldn't recover from like the wobbles. I'm not too sure where his failing point is in a deadlift, but it looks like he just kind of got out of position halfway through.
So many things have to go right when you're on the upper limit of your deadlift, too.
Yeah, like, especially sumo. You can almost grind out a conventional, but you can't really grind out a sumo.
Well, I think especially with the way he pulls, he looks a lot more upright than some other sumo pullers. So for him, like, it almost like it's deceiving because you don't really start shaking or anything when it gets heavy. So for him, but I think the indicator where he's pushing his upper limit is when that leg starts shaking, that right leg.
So it was either his leg shaking that indicated some bar wobbling, looks like you got out of the groove, lost position, and there was no way to recover from there. I'm not even too sure if it was a strength thing. I think he had the strength for it.
It looked fast
if he attempted that lift a couple more times, you know, obviously without being fatigued, he might have had it if the stars aligned, but it just looked like he got off balance because things started shaking.
It was basically almost a perfect last deadlift attempt.
Yeah, almost. So Connor missed it. So I was telling Jared if Connor makes it, he's out of the question from us. We've also decided that the Worlds was out of the spot. We just Jared and I needed a bigger squat and a bench. He needed a bigger subtotal, at least 10 mores, you know, because 300, 310 deadlift wasn't out of the question. And depending how big a subtotal on, we can adjust it plus or minus.
Yeah.
Anyways, Connor missed his deadlift, so we just decided let's pull to try to beat Connor. So we put that on the bar, but before that we got Lonray.
You know, looking at Jared McIntyre, he opened with 260, jumped to 290, 30 kilo jump.
Yeah.
And jumping to 307.5. It's ambitious. But load up.
Lonray's got the bronze medal locked up. That was a really nice, smooth deadlift.
Yeah.
Lonray 3 for 3. I think he had at least 5 kilos more in deadlift. So I think he could have gotten like an extra 7.5 on his total from bench and deadlift.
He's this Jared guy with a huge deadlift.
All right, so immediately after Jared, last lift, 307.5. This is the pull for the win.
And Jared McIntyre, 307.5 being loaded for a Hail Mary pass to clinch the Western Canadian title.
And why not? Silver's locked up. Pull for the gold.
What a comeback win. If Jared pulls this off, he'll be the talk of the town tonight.
Silver to gold. When he starts pulling, you start
Currently
screaming.
in the silver medal position with 720.
applause.
He had nothing to lose, though.
Yeah, he had literally nothing to lose. Hats off to him for loading it up and giving it a swing.
A few minutes now.
And that will conclude this session of the 52s, 57s, and 74s.
It moved.
Well, at that time, when I got it off the floor, for that split second, I thought I was actually going to get it to move. Because conventional is weird that way, where it's like if it just cuts off the floor, it almost feels like you have it, you know? Like,
Yeah. The grounding point on a conventional is pretty much like the top half.
and then I felt my back seize, and I was like, nope.
It wasn't worth it.
No.
So yeah, so end of the day, Connor got first, 7:35 and a half. Jared with 7:20, and then Lon Ray with 7:05. Those are your 1, 2, and 3 spots. But if you compare those to the people at Westerns or at Centrals as well, we have Blake at 7:45, Luke Holmer at 7:43 and a half, I want to say. Connor at 7:35 and a half, Jared 7:20, and then Lon Ray at 7:05. So it would have been cool to see all these athletes competing at the same time. I know like
Because it changes the whole flow.
Blake had a perfect day.
Yeah.
Like 9 for 9, I'm pretty sure like all white lights across the board. Like amazing. Luke Holmer, arguably the stronger lifter, went 8 for 9, missed on deadlift, but it's insane like to see all these top level athletes like pushing each other. And also I know like Luke was picking up insane numbers in training, but he obviously was training heavy and then he cut down his 74, so
Well, I think he hit basically all the numbers he needed to hit. It was just deadlift. He just couldn't hold on to the bar, basically.
Was it a
But it
grip?
wasn't. It didn't look like strength. Like,
was it I didn't even see
No,
it.
his grip. I think it was
Oh.
his grip. So that's pretty scary to think, like, you know.
And also, it's like different equipment at Westerns compared to Centrals.
Yeah.
Arguably in the favor of the Centrals athletes, but we were expecting a bad bench with the bench that they were using, but we had like the best bench day of our life. So.
Well, and everyone had their own opinion. Like Connor Lutz said, he really liked the bench. So.
And
he's a big bencher.
And we didn't like the bench.
And we didn't like the bench.
So
yeah.
even if Connor went to Centrals, maybe he wouldn't have benched as good with the other bench, but
Well,
we would have.
Yeah, that's the
So-
problem with the way this whole thing was set up. Was like we weren't competing like how a powerlifting meet should have been.
Yeah, we were competing
We
for
couldn't
this.
play mind
we
games.
were competing for this already set number, and we weren't actually competing against each other. Like Connor's focus was
Yeah.
745.5. Our focus was 745.5. Blake and Luke, they didn't really have any numbers in mind. They were just pushing each other and trying to get the most out of themselves that day. So
Yeah, I'm excited for the time when we actually do all compete because it'll be a lot more entertaining. There's a lot more variables you can manipulate, and it's a lot more fair because we're all using the same stuff. So
we'll see who all shows up at Nationals.
I think that'll be my next meet.
And it's going to be fun.
You know what we could talk about really quick is how long it's taken me to just touch a national platform that I've never touched yet.
Yeah,
Like I could have went nationals
2020.
plenty of times.
Yeah. So Jared started powerlifting, I think, in 2017. Started working with me in 2018. I think he did like 2 or 3 meets by himself before reaching out to me. But
I think it was roughly 2018. 2018, 2019-ish. I think it was 2019. Beginning of 2019.
not too sure. Anyways,
Yeah. But it's been since basically
he
2019.
is arguably like one of the top juniors at 66 kilos. If he went to nationals in 2020, he would have won. If he put the performance together, but he didn't.
I didn't get to. You know?
Yeah, so with the whole COVID, like the politics of all of that, his prime junior years were out the window. So
Yeah, all my junior years.
Jared's been competing for 7 years, and he's only been to Westerns.
Westerns and Centrals. That's
And
it.
he hasn't been to nationals just because of the circumstances. He's also moved from Manitoba to Ontario recently.
So I had to go through everything all
So
over
the
again.
qualification processes of everything he's had to do that multiple times. When he was going to go to nationals, COVID happened. Then he moved. So we're excited to see him on the platform at a higher level. I'm excited to coach him at the national and the world level in the future. But we just have to make those steps to get there and get stronger in the first place. 745 kilos was the goal for this meet, and the next meet it has to be higher. Those are the old standards. We have to make new standards now. So Blake and Blake and Luke are going to push this total to probably 760, 765 their next meet. So we need to get stronger. So we'll fix up our squat and we'll get a bigger bench and we'll make sure we do realistic deadlift attempts.
Yeah. It's crazy to think that like all these years I've been training and it feels like this is just the beginning.
It's just starting now.
Crazy. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to upload every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I took last week off from uploading just because we had the whole powerlifting meet, but we're back to doing the Monday, Wednesday, Friday split for doing these vlogs. All right, we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Peace.